I see it.
Okay. You
Okay.
may.
Thank you. My name's Lisa. I'm here to represent over 300 plus Los Altos residents in favor of the dog park pilot program. You provided us a dog park and we showed up in Groves. This experiment demonstrated several things. Number one, it showed a huge need in our community for dog owners to have a place to take their dogs off leash, walking distance from our homes, just like our neighboring cities and communities have. There were also some issues. We'll address them. However, we know they are issues that can be solved, and we want to work together with you and have your support on them. Number one, we heard you loud and clear during the City Council's 9/21 meeting. Council made it very clear that safety and liability was their top priority. This experiment was put together without an enclosed fence, so several of these issues should not be a surprise. Adding a fence for containment would solve the majority of the issues on this program. A fence would ensure the safety for all residents walking or passing by the park or through it. It would provide a barrier for any maintenance staff and any other park personnel. It would prevent dogs from leaving the off-leash field area and even entering the Little League area. So I also spoke with the head of Little League, and he was totally willing to work with us, had no problem with dogs being there, and we'd be willing to completely work around their hours. So bottom line, fence would really, really help solve a lot of issues. Number two, compatibility. This represents all the stakeholders involved because this is a community asset. Their needs should be addressed. We want everyone to know we are considering everyone involved. Neighbors, we talk to our neighbors. We know noise and security are a concern. A fence in different hours can help solve these issues. Police, rules need to be clear and enforceable so the police and code enforcements can use their time productively. Park and recs, we recognize this is a community resource. We need to keep and maintain high quality fields. So this is also available for other programs and activities. You know, for example, digging. We are on it, making sure that dogs are not disrupting this. I do believe in the beginning there were more holes, and as we got, you know, we realized this was going to be a problem, we were on it. So now I don't see any ruts in our holes. Little League, the priority should go for them when a game or a field, or I'm sorry, when a game or a practice is in session. Maintenance, they want minimal impact to their fields. So using it responsibly, ensuring their safety when they're working is important. A fence would only be a benefit. So we look forward to collaborating with everyone on this. So the dry patches, we were told were due because water was actually shut off for a long time. History Museum, they are neighbors too. We're willing to work with them to keep them happy. Next steps, why do we think it's solvable as dog owners? What we've learned and what we need to do to support to make this work. The dog owners have been diligent with their dogs and other dogs, stopping digging, minimizing barking, being on alert when new dogs arrive, keeping dogs off the infield, picking up poop, paying attention when other dogs walk by or enter the park, knowing where our dogs are at all times. It takes a village, and we've worked really hard together to be very responsible about this. And given the support of so many Los Altos residents and the demonstrated need in our community, as Los Altos is a pet-friendly town with a 75-year-old pet parade, we have pet-friendly restaurants downtown, but we have no dog park for off-leash play for our community. This Parks and Recs Commission is dedicated to enabling recreational opportunities, and we've proven that this is significant and a needed one. We need your support in helping us to advance the efforts for Los Altos residents to have a dog park. Let's work together to make this successful for our community. This is what council expected of us, and this is what our 300 plus members are eager to do. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, I'll end it here and allow others to speak, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lisa. I do have a quick question.
Sure.
300 people. Can you please tell me or tell the commission who comprises the 300 people that you're representing and how you come
all
up
people
with
in our
that
community.
estimate?
Absolutely, absolutely. We put together a survey and went around and asking people, you know, if they wanted this dog park and if they would support it. And they all signed it and gave us email addresses, their names, and said, we are in support of a dog park. And it was over 300. And I apologize that I don't have the exact number. I was not on that committee. I'm the
Well,
spokesperson.
I appreciate that. That's, you don't need to have the exact number, but understanding the magnitude is important to us. We
Sure.
appreciate you for that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for that question.
Okay. The next public speaker that I have is Mehmet Devisi. Okay. Mehmet, you should be able to speak now.
Hello. Yeah, I assume you can hear me, although I cannot hear you. But I will just.
We can hear you. Give me just a moment to make sure that your time clock is up. I have.
It's 4 minutes, but yeah, I will just start my comment then.
Yes.
So I want to talk that I strongly support the off-leash program in the Hillview, and I am disappointed with the report regarding the pilot. The report states that the pilot failed in terms of incidents, field condition, and unlawful activity. In terms of the incidents, safety-related issues could have been addressed with the installation of the fences that the residents have been asking from the beginning. For the field condition, we all understand that the use of the park by dogs and owners have associated wear and tear damages. But I am bothered by the efforts that blame the dogs for the field damages that are in fact caused by crows or raccoons or improper watering during a hot summer season. For this, I appreciate if you can check my email that I sent to Ms. Donna Leggy, where I provided picture evidence that shows the soccer field in the next door is in actually no better condition than the Hillview Park. It has a lot more dry patches and there is no dog activity in this field. I also provided pictures that in the Hillview Park, there are very nicely arc-shaped dry patches that if you find the center, there is a sprinkler, and like this is more likely to happen due to the improper watering. I also provided historical images from the satellite pictures of the Google Earth from 2017 and 18, and most of these dry patches exist in the park before, and they keep currently happening in the very nice patterns of these circles. I also disagree with the statement that the pilot did not decrease the unauthorized off-leash use of the Los Altos parks. If this was a success criteria, it appears that the pilot was set for a failure from the very beginning with absurd dog park hours. At this point, the only meaningful evaluation that can take place is by looking at whether there was a decrease in the unauthorized off-leash use of Los Altos Park from 7 to 9 a.m. and p.m. Any other evaluation is not justifiable, and it is not a representation of what would happen if you provided more reasonable dog park hours. So now let me tell you why the pilot was a success for me. So I'm an immigrant in the USA for the last 10 years, and I lived in Los Altos less than 2 years. And thanks to the Hillview Park, for the first time I met my neighbors, I built relations with a very diverse group of people with different ethnicities and ages. During COVID, my wife and I had a wedding canceled, ended up having only an online wedding and a newborn baby with no support. We were completely away from our families who live in overseas, and our neighbors that we met through the Hillview Park were the only people we shared these moments, and they were the only one that gave us support. So this says a lot about the character of the community that the Hillview Park not only enabled, but also fostered. So now running into the fellow dog park neighbors and being able to chat with them while walking on the streets and downtown make me feel like I lived here not more than the last 2 years. It feels like home, a small town that I grew up and lived in my whole life. This gives me the feeling of belonging even as an outsider. So the pilot to me was a success. I also like to mention that if you come to the dog park more than a couple of times, you will recognize me as the guy who constantly kicked the ball for several of the dogs. I build all these relations while still engaging and constantly watching over my dogs, unlike many claims I heard, socializing interfere with people paying attention to their dogs. Lastly, I'd like to say that like there are future promises without certain timeline, and they are unsettling. And it is a sign for another 10 to 20 years of endless dog park discussion. I hope that you will reconsider the report and consider my statements, making a decision for the future. But that ends my comments.